What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel, and today we are here for a brand new Madden 25 realistic rebuild of the Arizona Cardinals. We're in a minimum of 5, maximum of 10 seasons. We're going to try to fix all of the issues that is wrong with the Arizona Cardinals and not only make a Super Bowl, but win a Super Bowl for the first time in franchise history. The Arizona Cardinals in 2024, weird vibes. Felt like at about mid-season, they're competing for the NFC West, definitely looking like a playoff team. And then the train completely went off the tracks, and they're on a 2-game losing streak, including an L to the Carolina Panthers. I have not watched a lot of Cardinals football this year. I don't know what went wrong, but we're in a season right now where, some of us are thinking about playoffs, and some of us are thinking about mock drafts. And over the next month or so, I'm going to be prioritizing on the fan bases and teams that are thinking of mock drafts, because I'm going to try to fix all these different teams and win you guys some Super Bowl trophies. But the reason why we're starting today with the Arizona Cardinals relates to our realistic rebuilds, where we use real college players. And there is one player in particular that you guys wanted to see, and not only see, but see him on the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona State star running back Cam Skattebo absolutely lit up the 2025 Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in the expanded college football playoff. It's 300 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns, a 2-point conversion, passing touchdown, breaking records left, right, and center. I think on the season he had like almost 2,000 yards, 20-some plus touchdowns. An absolute ridiculous playmaker. And I basically sent out a tweet being like, Skattebo, what team? And it came down to the Chargers and the Cardinals, and the fact that the Chargers are still in playoff mode, and the Cardinals had an incredibly disappointing end of their season. I'm going to bless the Arizona Cardinals. We are going to make this matchup happen. As I see, he's predicted to go second, third round. I think when you look at the rankings, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes, because he's a guy that's clearly a good football player. He's going to be a good NFL player. But athletically speaking, is he going to run like a 4.6 and have people be like, well, Singleton, all these running backs ahead of him are probably not running 4.6. So it's going to be the team that just values great players, which it could end up being the Arizona Cardinals. And we're going to try and make him a feature point. You got Skattebo, Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Paris Johnson Jr. Like, that is going to be our core to bring this team a Super Bowl trophy. So before we get into the final game of the season, I do want to look at free agents. And as long as we keep using like the start today, week 17, always got to look right away, because if we just skip even 1 week ahead, we are only going to have one opportunity to throw contract offers at potential re-sign options. And I'm looking at it right now. And, one of those things with Baron Browning, we kind of have our pass rush figured out, but you make a trade for him, you probably want to keep him around. So let's go up to 3.5. And I do like Baron Browning, big time athlete at Ohio State, very much like Zaven Collins, kind of a tweener, doesn't really have like a 100% natural position, but that can work. And then we got Hernandez here. It's just one of those guys that we can re-sign him. It's just one last position we have to worry about for the next 2 years, even though he's definitely not a long-term option. So we ended the season on a 3-game losing streak. Very uncompetitive loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Statistically speaking, the Arizona Cardinals this year, Kyler Murray, 3,500 yards passing, 19 touchdowns, 10 picks, almost 600 yards on the ground, and another 4 touchdowns. That's kind of middle of the mall season, and we need a lot more out of that. So we're going to give Kyler one more year. But if it's more middle of the mall next season, tough questions need to be asked. Now, our plan rushing is Cam Skattebo. It works out in the context of James Conner. James Conner's back on a 1-year deal. Stylistically, Skattebo can probably learn a lot of things about James Conner, how to prepare, get your body right. Very similar styles, bruising running backs. You have Trey Benson, who just hasn't been able to get on the field. I don't know if that's necessarily like a talent issue, or James Conner's just been so good you don't want to take him off. But Benson is probably going to be the casualty of this plan of bringing in Cam Skattebo, because he is still a young dev trait running back. That's just more value. We could probably ship him out and get a decent mid-round pick. Fuck. So we close out the regular season on a 3-game losing streak, losing in the final game very uncompetitively, 27-3 against the San Francisco 49ers. So taking a peek at our stats here, Kyler Murray, 3,500 yards, 19 touchdowns, 10 picks. Definitely need more out of that. Almost 6-4 on the ground. I mean, ultimately, that's kind of like a meh season, middle of the mall season. We're going to give Kyler one more year, but another middle of the mall season. Tough questions need to be asked. James Conner, probably the best offensive player for the Cardinals this year. And clearly, with our direction of bringing in Cam Skattebo, I mean, it makes sense. James Conner is only on a one-year contract. We'll let him stay here for that. But after that, I mean, he's going to be a mentor for Skattebo. Similar type of running back. I actually would love for James Conner this offseason to develop a mentorship tag. Because, you know, anytime you have a power back that's playing into his 30s, you're going to be able to teach a thing or two to the younger power back, which we're going to have in Skattebo. The casualty of this plan of our rebuild is going to be Trey Benson, because Trey Benson is a rookie running back with a dev trait. There's going to be some value there. Now, I don't know if he's not nearly as good as he is in real life. He's in Madden. I am going to assume that there's still a player there. They just didn't know because so much was clearly James Conner deserving to be on the field as much as he is. He was the best weapon. So you didn't get to see a whole lot of Benson. But for the sake of this rebuild, and maybe this might be like if I'm thinking in my head, not going to say perfect scenario, but say like we're in the third round and we're picking, what are we going to be picking? Probably in the low 10s. Maybe package our third round pick in Benson to go up early in the third to secure Cam Skattebo. Like that could happen, that might not happen, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. As far as receivers, we got Trey McBride, almost 100 catches on the year, over 1,000 yards, and one lowly touchdown. Marvin Harrison goes 800 yards, 7 touchdowns. Definitely need to see a lot more there. Michael Wilson's going to be a good role player. Like, I think there's definitely a scenario that, like, wide receiver 1, receiving target number 2. Hopefully he can keep these numbers up in the sim. And then Wilson can kind of be that third guy. Like, that, I can work with that for sure going forward. On the defensive side, we have Budda Baker with an insane amount of tackles. Kaiser White with an insane amount of tackles. 5 sacks, David Collins. So we need to figure out this pass rush. These are Jesse Laquetta. Love seeing a Canadian with 3 sacks. But definitely cause for concern. We're also in a 3-4 scheme. Now, can't universally now say I hate 3-4s because our first realistic rebuild was with the New York Giants. And they were 3-4, and we got a lot of good pass rush production. We also, though, to get that, had an X-Factor in Brian Burns and an X-Factor in Dexter Lawrence. We do not have any. That's an entirely different species of player from what we have right now on our Cardinals pass rush. Interception numbers also not great. And again, your head coach is a defensive head coach. This is not good. This is not a good situation. Adding context where many people thought Marvin Harrison was going to take the league over by storm, he is 5th in offensive rookie. So maybe an accurate representation about where the hype for Marvin Harrison Jr. is going into his sophomore season. The offseason, couple retirements. Okay. Beecham, a long-term servant to the Cardinals, and Matt Prater, you know, one of the best big leg kickers of all time. As we clean our lockers, just see the dev trait situation, if it's gone up or down. Marvin Harrison Jr., when we started this rebuild, was hidden dev. I feel like, and I could be wrong, he was an X factor when this game launched. But after a ho-hum rookie campaign, I mean, still a superstar. That's a good spot for him. I think that's going to give us still plenty of build on next year. Maybe the most surprising is Trey McBride not going from star up to a superstar. Over almost 100 catches, over 1,000 yards. It's 100% the fact that he only had 1 touchdown. Like, whatever the algorithm is that determines whether dev trait goes up or down, they're like, oh, he's going to be 100% dev trait. He's like, oh, he only has 1 touchdown? Absolutely not. So maybe a little bit harsh on that front. And I really hope going forward that this is a system that will still be able to feed the tight end. I don't want next year him to have like 500 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, he needs to be our wide receiver number 2. And honestly, to accurately represent that in my head, we might have to make him our slot wide receiver, which, you know, not the end of the world, but we might want to try to prioritize bringing in a decent backup tight end. And on the defensive side of the ball, no dev traits up or down outside of Budda Baker, who makes the jump from a superstar up to a superstar X factor, which is, you know, kind of rare when you have a player like this at that age where you just get major regression across the board. -2 to his speed is pretty harsh, but no matter what way you cut it, Budda Baker, awesome player. Quick Super Bowl spoilers in the background. The Bucks beat the Bills, which is kind of weird. For offensive line, we have Evan Brown here, 28. So I feel like we'll just offer him a 2-year deal. And it's much like Will Hernandez, you know, not going to be guys that are going to be on this roster, I don't think, when it's time for us to be competitive for a Super Bowl. but they're going to be nice plug and play for while we figure it out. And I'm going to be honest with you, once we get into the Madden generated classes, I can get guards. They grow on trees. So we just need to kind of have them hold on a little bit. And I think everybody else here, thank you for your service, especially you, the White Lawrence Taylor, Dennis Gardeck. But we need to get younger. So look at how our roster is constructed. I'm honestly just kind of looking for trade candidates right now. I'm going to think outside the box here for a second. And I just, there's never going to be no sense of no bias when I talk about B.J. Ojulari. For those of you that might not have watched my main Arizona Cardinals rebuild franchise, dynasty, whatever you want to call it, last year, B.J. Ojulari became the best player in the league. We had 20, we broke the sack record with him. He's 23-71 with the dev trait. I don't want to give up on that. But then you look at here, you have Zaven Collins and Baron Browning. We just gave a contract to Baron Browning. Like, you know, still some development there. And then we look at Zaven Collins, he's a tweener. He's still a run stuffer. He's still an off-ball linebacker, even though he's like that really weird body type at 6'4", 260. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a look, because you got Jonathan Gannon. He's definitely keeping tabs on the Philadelphia Eagles. What the Eagles did with Zach Bond, who is likely going to be a first-team All-Pro linebacker this year, after signing like a 1-year league minimum, coming over from the Saints, where on the Saints he was a special teamer and an edge rusher. Philly said, I'm going to make you off-ball linebacker. And he's already made the Pro Bowl. And again, going to be potentially first-team All-Pro. I'm going to kind of go with that thinking for Zaven Collins, just because it kind of spreads out the linebackers a little bit and gives us, you know, 4 linebackers across the board that we feel optimistic that will grow and develop here in this scheme and system. When you look at Budda Baker, you see a guy that just, how do they keep re-signing him? How does he not want to trade out of Arizona? I'm curious what you could get for him. Like, I don't want to just get itchy and try to make a trade for the sake of making a trade, but when I look at this roster, Budda Baker just went up X Factor and he's regressing at the same time. So we have the perfect opportunity. If not now, it will be never to sell high on Budda Baker. And so you look, I mean, look at the guys. So DJ Moore, unrealistic. We won't make that move. Zach Allen, kind of realistic. Former Arizona Cardinal. I don't hate that. Also get the first round pick, which kind of kills that trade. That could happen. Won't happen. Still is one of the better rookie corners in the league. Won't happen. Saberstow's a rookie. Could happen just because I think they tagged him. And the Niners don't want no part of the fact that Madden makes you pay outside linebacker edge rush money. Carrick, no. Devontae Adams, no. It's a headache. Romeo Doubs is interesting, but I kind of like my plan potentially with our 3-headed attack there of Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, and Michael Wilson, where I don't necessarily want to add another wide receiver right to the mix. That would never happen. So, I mean, there's just not... It's one of those things. Realistic rebuild. The rebuild side says trade Budda Baker. The realistic side says he just never wants to leave the Cardinals. He just keeps getting extensions, and none of these trades are really worth going after. Maybe we explore the teams that are really interested, like the Patriots. The Patriots wouldn't be buying right now, but I could see totally a team like Denver being interested. The fact that they're throwing a first, let's see if we can make something work with Denver potentially. So Denver originally was offering me Zach Allen, so a superstar pass rusher, and a first-round pick. Now, I could totally see Denver being interested. They desperately need a strong safety, and they're a team that is in a win-now type mode. So I think that's something that's a little bit more reasonable instead of giving me a superstar defensive end and a first-round pick. How about you give me a second-round pick and a future third? Maybe I could get more. Like, maybe we throw in... How about that? A 2 and your next 2 3s. So I get a little bit of bump. Third round is kind of the last round. You can make some magic happen with the classes. And that way there, I'm going to view this as doing right by Budda Baker. Budda Baker just wants to continue to come here and stay as a Cardinal. And we need to go let him spread his wings somewhere else and go win a Super Bowl. Because by the time that we are ready, if we keep him on this roster, he's probably not going to be here. He'd be a part of the coaching staff by the time this Cardinals team is ready to compete. I moved a couple DBs to that strong safety spot to see if we can figure out if we have someone on the roster that could fill that massive void that's going to be left by Budda Baker, or if we're at the draft. So we have Taylor Demerson, who's a free safety. Love the athletic profile there. I also took Elijah Jones, who is a part of that rookie class. He's a corner, but he's bigger, 6'2", 185, and he had decent tackling stats for a corner with 65 tackling versus the fact that like most corners in this game have like low 60s into the 50s. But I don't think that, you know, sometimes you can get some safeties that are in the second round that slip out of the first round. There could be some value there for us to potentially strike. Or you could just say screw it and sign Hufanga right away. Looking at our free agency moves, we're going to try and get Tommy Tremble just to give us a little bit more upside of that tight end position in case we do want to move Trey McBride to the slot, for example, to have him maybe be accurately represented in this rebuild for how he should be featured in this offense alongside Marvin Harrison Jr. And Tremble just gives us a little bit more upside. We got Ryland, who's been a decent kicker for the Cardinals down the stretch in relief of the injured Matt Prater. Might as well bring him back. I got Bobby Brown because we have absolutely nothing at nose tackle, and he just gives us a solid plug-and-play, low ceiling, but not going to probably be exposed against the run game starter, but probably want to also prioritize finding a long-term nose tackle in the draft with a dev trade or some upside. And lastly, yeah, we just got rid of Budda Baker. Maybe this is more Canadian bias filtering in, but the fact that we're getting Javon Holland at per year basis like $5, $6, $7 million less than Budda Baker, and we're going to be able to give him a 5-year deal. He's younger. I think this makes sense. It's a nice potential move if we can bring him in, but there's a lot of big offers in on him. We're waiting on Ryland and Tremble, but we did get Javon Holland. We did get Bobby Brown. I don't know if we'll get Ryan. Oh, Ryland's going to get... Oh, these guys are going to get all outbid on us. It's fine, because I'm not going to get in a bidding war for a freaking backup tight end or kicker. Very happy we're able to bring in Javon Holland. And with that, let's move him right to strong safety. I'll keep Jalen Thompson where he's at. You don't want a whole lot of moving pieces. And I don't think his rating's going to shift too much. We just want him to sit back there, play center field, make some tackles, but make some goddamn plays on the football. I want turnovers. So looking ahead at the 2025 NFL Draft, our focus scouts that we're able to get in, we got Walter Nolan on the D-line at 6'4", 291, former 5-star. He would be a great get to play one of those DN spots. I also focus on, just because of where we're going to be picking, tackle. Oh, because we do need maybe a long-term right tackle. And I figure like at 26, like Ursery's, I mean, he could be in range. I want to take a look at Millam, who's like a PFF darling. Not a great hit. And obviously, with the man of the hour, had to scout Cam Skattebo, who is a first-round talent. Ooh, we got ourselves a sick roll here. Calvin Banks is still on the board at the tackle. Now, we do have Walter Nolan, who's a first-round talent. Oh, we can solve that tackle. We did. What do we need more? Let's just look at our roster, because I know we got Jonah Williams, who was a former first-round pick of the Bengals. We have him under, like, decent money at right tackle. Got to be a little tough to replace. And he's not a liability, but definitely limited ceiling. But what do we have at 3-4? So we have Darius Robinson, who we don't want to give up on. And on the other side, it's, man, another kind of expensive player, to be honest with you. Oh, this is tough. Why is he slipping? A, pass block, B, run block, elite strength. This kind of just feels like the no-brainer pick. I think ultimately how I'm going to justify this is we get number 10 in true value at pick 12. Is Skattebo's kind of the feature of this rebuild, and having a better offensive line is going to help him be that much more of a feature player. You can see up top, Malachi Starks just went, which is good because we got Javon Holland, and if I didn't get Javon Holland, that would have been my pick. We have 2 picks. We have pick 12 and 19 in the second round. Skattebo's still on the board, so we don't have to reach for him right here. So what do we really want to do? We got Mitchell Evans if we want to get that tight end. I still think I'd love to find a tackle here. But no, I mean, we're just at the purgatory zone. Like Monaheim at center. He's played a little tackle. What about on the D end front? We got Patrick Payton, Jordan Birch. Not much there. Kyle Kennard, and you know, I feel decent about our linebackers across the board. Derek Carter would be an interesting pick. Corner, Everett. I mean, our corner room has a lot of upside. but no dev traits. Like, did any of these guys, would any of them carry a dev trait? Jabbar Muhammad was an unreal corner at Washington, transferred to Oregon. I just undersized. Like, this is a very, very weird spot to be. Not a popular pick. But we're going to be like the Detroit Lions when they got Jack Campbell. I think our best player available on the board right now is a linebacker. Mac Wilson's not a good enough player for me to not get our BPA being a linebacker, and Barrett Card ends up being 29 in true value, getting him at 44 with the dev trait. With our second round pick, something that we are missing is speed, and Tez Johnson has speed for days. Now, the key ratings are not the best, but the speed ratings are, and I feel like he could be the shot play specialist that we have on the offensive side of the ball. Bo Nix's brother. Look it up. Number 32 in true value. Don't be scared about bad grades on wide receiver. It's all about the athlete. No dev trait's a little annoying, but also he's not going to feature heavy enough that I don't think we need to maximize that dev trait. We just want that athletic profile. I'm going to try to make a move here. I want to get back into the second round to secure the services of Skattebo. Benson, 76 star dev running back. Mac Wilson, 27-year-old star dev linebacker. I'm going to try to trade with the Pittsburgh Steelers to get pick 57. I also would love to bring in the super weapon, Darnell Washington, the big 6'7" tight end. He could be like our kind of feature player. We're able to make that happen. And now, drum roll, please. Back on the clock with our third second-round pick of the draft. The man, the myth, the legend, staying in Arizona. First-round talent, Cam Skattebo. 22 in true value, getting him at 57. Not a lot of speed, which I'm fine with, because you know why? He has that A break tackle, A trucking, A stiff arm, A catching, can pass block his ass off. Let's go. And I did think we have a fourth and fifth round pick. I was like, Carson Beck, that could be like, he had first round hype. And if we don't really like what we see out of Kyler Murray next year, we could, we have Carson Beck on the UDFA talent. We scouted the quarterbacks. So, not touching any of these guys. Look at our draft recap. We got an absolute haul. We got a 71 kicker. We got a 67 D lineman. He can play all three of the spots. Ritzy here out of North Carolina. Let's come back to you. Tez Johnson, 74 burner, normal dev. Barrett Carter, 74. Big-time athlete at middle linebacker. Banks, clearly BPA, free-falling from a top 5 pick to the pick 12. He's going to be a day one starter for us at left tackle. And Cam Skattebo, with the 25th pick in the second round, 75 overall, which is not crazy, but it's also really damn good for a guy that's certainly entering the discussion to be the second running back selected after Ashton Jeanty. And with this, you got to figure with the success this year of Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Joe Mixon, Josh Jacobs, kind of feels like you're getting a little bit more of a shift back to the running backs being a priority and maybe being valued a little bit more in the draft, where the last couple of years have kind of been thrown to the side. And look at Skattebo, athletically speaking, 91 acceleration is not brutal, but clearly the highlights for him is the 92 break tackle, 86 trucking, 83 stiff arm, and he can catch the football decently out of the backfield. Wait, what? I just got gold medal with Marvin Harrison Jr. in the wide receiver training camp, and our first dev trait increase of the Madden 25 season comes in February. So, yeah, that's pretty sick. And with Skattebo, it was always going to be gold medal. Now that we got the gold, let's see if we can just run some guys over. I want to see that 92 break tackle on every single snap. That's how he's going to make his mark on the league. Every single time, he's like a more agile Mike Allstott. You already know. Cam Skattebo in the league, over under 5 angry runs on the year. Every year. So here's a look at our Cardinals squad as we gear up for the first true year of the rebuild, as we now consider that. Last year is kind of year 0. Marvin Harrison Jr. getting the X-Factor dev trait in training camp is gigantic. Skattebo in the backfield. We got Trey McBride in the slot. Wilson. We got Banks, so it looks like we have our 2 franchise tackles. Interior of the line might not have a lot of upside. All three of these guys might not be here when we're trying to contend, but they're good for the time being. And I think, at minimum, what we need to find out this year is Kyler Murray the guy? Are we going to be able to be a team that can go on a deep playoff run? Not only go on a deep playoff run, but hang with the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Cincinnati Bengals. Is Kyler that guy? Defensively, I'd like to see a couple dev traits on that front three. You know, Darius Robinson getting a dev trait would be huge. Maybe getting another dev trait in this corner room as all these guys are on the right side of 25. Also, with a 3-4 scheme, you always got to find out what's the pass rush look like. Generally, 3-4 schemes get no pass rush. I would love to see, you know, Baron Browning. I'd love to see BJ Ojolari kind of play like the Ojolari that we've seen in our Madden dynasties. But ultimately, it's going to be everyone's going to prove it here. Show me what you got, especially Kyler Murray. In game one of what we hope is the new era of Arizona Cardinals football, let's see if Cam Skattebo can run all over the Cleveland Browns. Love to meet somehow, some way, outside the tackle, one-on-one with Myles Garrett and run him over. Good first run. Couple contact. Broken tackle. Oh, okay. Laying the lumber. There was a Denzel Ward. All right. Myles Garrett still really good. Drive stalls. Okay, Myles Garrett still really good. Another drive. Punt. Trying to get something going here. See, Marvin Harrison Jr., if we're going to find a way back in it, it's got to be our X factor at wideout, mixed in with some Skattebo. The clock is working against us, so we can't really run. Oh, let's go! Skattebo at the backfield. Breaks the tackle. You can tell the Browns defense was not prepared for him to stay upright. We missed the kick. No, he got it from behind. Newsome had a step on Marvin Harrison Jr. And I gotta see replay that. I thought, pick. Like we overshot it. He 100% caught that behind. Newsome had a step. Look, he did. Incredible by Maserati Marv. We need a touchdown, 2-pointer. We'll go right to Skattebo. It's about 74, 75 catching. But we need... I gotta play this one. Cannot let this come down to a missed 2-point conversion by the computer to potentially tie this one up. But we are gonna play it maybe a little low risk and try to just get this to Skattebo. If we're gonna get him, no, JOK, come. I mean, we had to. Maybe with Kyler Murray, it would have been best to just like try to use the dual threat ability. I mean, Skattebo looked good. Marvin Harrison looked good. There's some positives, but losing to the Browns that's a tough one. We got some decisions to make. We are at the bye. We have one win. We beat the Panthers. We have the 30-set. We're averaging 12 points a game. The only thing positive is our rushing yards. I like to think, for the sake of this rebuild, that's Skattebo. Defensively, bottom of the barrel as well. I mean, it could be worse. The Bears don't have a win. But, I mean, what... We're not even getting scrambling out of Kyler Murray. The good-ish news is, judging by these trade offers for teams that realistically need a quarterback, the Giants are offering us... I'm not really concerned with the player. A second-round pick in 2028, a fourth-round pick this year. The Jets, who desperately need a quarterback, they're throwing in Breece Hall, which we don't need, but if they're throwing that kind of value, we might be able to, you know, kind of scan over the roster and come with something else. A fourth and a fifth. Patriots have the quarterback. Vegas is offering Jacoby Myers a second, sixth, and seventh. I think the time is now, because clearly we're now in nowhere. Trade Kyler Murray ahead of the deadline if we can, because when you wait till the offseason, 28 to 29, you're probably going to face some regression. But we're not going to trade him with the Giants because they have Shador Sanders. They're just being dumb Madden. The Jets make a little more sense. They're clearly just throwing anything at a wall and seeing what sticks at quarterback. And the Raiders drafted Quinn Ewers, so I'm looking at the Jets here. So what I have created here is a trade that I think works out for both sides. One is, I think in a different scheme, a better scheme, Kyler Murray could thrive. And that could be in New York. He's still only 28. It's not like I'm trying to trade like a 31, 32-year-old. He's 81 with a dev trade. I have 2 third-round picks this year. It's a realistic draft class, so the ratings are a little bit difficult to get those hits in the 3rd and 4th round, as opposed to like the way we draft when it's a generic class. So, knowing that they were willing to throw in a superstar running back, and I've seen some, high-round picks run around, I want their 2nd-round pick this year, their 2nd-round pick, that is the first year that we get back into the Madden-generated classes, and a 3rd-round pick in that same year. So we should definitely be able to kind of hit home runs with those picks. We should be able to do damage and bring in an exciting college player with this 2nd-round pick. And we don't really have a backup. So this almost, kind of secures a potential tank that our draft round pick here in 2026 is, right now we're currently number 7. That should only improve to, at worst, I would like to think top 5, if not an outright top 3 pick for the upcoming draft. And they accept it. And you know what? If we're going for the tank, we have Clayton Tune on the roster. And if you remember from our Cardinals franchise, Clayton Tune made a couple plays. But how about history having a way to repeat itself? Get rid of Kyler Murray and bring back the quarterback that was drafted in the 1st round and then the next year replaced by a 1st-round quarterback in Josh Rosen. He's back. And you know what? I'm going to show a little Canadian bias here. Curtis Rourke's always kind of been like someone that I was like, you know what? Maybe there's a rebuild where we give him a chance. The man that led Indiana be the Cinderella story of the college football playoff in 2024. Heck, we can get him for a 6th-round pick from the Dolphins. Yeah, let's throw him in that healthy quarterback room of Josh Rosen and Clayton Tune. Now with this move, quarterback needs to now be under consideration. Obviously. Now, free agency could be in play. I don't think I've ever signed like a kind of big free agent quarterback in a rebuild yet. We have Iamaleva, the quarterback out of Tennessee. Our focus scouting is at quarterback, so we should unveil a lot of the information of these players, but it does not look like a particularly strong class by any means. Like even kind of like who could be a potential steal in this. I mean, Vandergriff, he retired. He medically retired. You got Cade Klubnik out of Clemson, could be interesting. Nussmeier out of LSU could be interesting. His dad's the quarterback coach on the Eagles right now. But I mean, like Miller, Moss, I'll be interested to see what Nico's true rating is. Dan Tank mode was in full effect, but Curtis Rourke gets his first win in the NFL, 34-24 over the lowly Jags at this point. And I kind of equate this to like, when the Raiders moved to like Aiden O'Connell. I feel like Curtis Rourke's in that bubble of like productive, underrated college quarterback with maybe what if potential in the NFL. Like probably doesn't have enough athleticism, probably doesn't have an elite iron to be like, oh, that's a starting quarterback. But he's kind of in that like Case Keenum. Remember Case Keenum was hot for like a year or two with the Vikings? Maybe we could get that out of Curtis Rourke. That's a big win. How did he play? Let's see. Not great. 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Luckily, Skattebo went off. James Conner, that's a great 1-2 punch there. I mean, it's not going to be the best playbook. Clearly, I think at this point, we're going to have an overhaul. And we're going to truly rebuild this team. Hit the reset button. Gannon's not getting the job done. But we're in an offense that does, lead you to believe you need a dual-threat quarterback, which Rourke is definitely not. But, I mean, our pass rush showed up. We got some time. I mean, that's a good result, even with the quarterback throwing 2 picks. But knowing that we're heading towards a rebuild, let's keep that in mind. We have $107 million of salary cap. Who needs to be a part? We're going to pick up the 5th-year option for Paris Johnson. I think it's fair to say we're going to let like all these quarterbacks kind of battle out. Very annoying, man, that Rourke. He must have just used a UDFA. I mean, McBride's getting paid, 100%. Like, let's give him player-friendly 5-year, $87 million for a 1,000-yard wide receiver, which is what he needs to be and continue to be, even though he's labeled as a tight end. Jalen Thompson at safety. I feel like if he wants to stay, he's going to be one of those guys, like, if he doesn't take this offer, I'm going to just interpret it as he doesn't want to, like, buy into the rebuild. But he could be like Budda Baker, learn from Budda Baker, and he just is his willingness to commit to a bad team. I appreciate it. Curtis Rourke got 2 in a row. Don't let Curtis Rourke get hot. 185 yards and a touchdown. Skattebo is absolutely crushing it. And our defense gets 2 picks on the day. Like, they're fighting for Gannon. I'll give them credit. And then we lose to the Saints 48-3 and get humbled. So at the end of the tank season, couldn't really complete the full tank. Shout out Curtis Rourke for getting a couple wins. We go 4-13, which, you know, we're probably, picking top 5. The Bears, the Giants. It's going to be probably someone on the AFC side. We'll figure that out in just one sec. But, ultimately, look at it. The rushing offense was top 10. Our rushing defense was top 10. But overall, I think it is time from, like, a coaching staff standpoint. Should be moving on. We have fired our offensive and defensive coordinator. As far as our head coach. So for our next head coach, let's just stay with Arizona State. He's probably the best coach in the state of Arizona. Kenny Dillingham is going to be our new head coach. Offensively, we're going to go with the Green Bay Packers playbook. And defensively, we're going to go with Old Reliable in the Buffalo Bills, switching from a 3-4 to a 4-3. Looking at our stats this season, well, quarterback play, not great, and more interceptions than touchdowns. Okay. Cam Skattebo for a rookie campaign, 1,200 yards and 11 touchdowns. We had Marvin Harrison Jr. going over 1,000 yards. He had 7 touchdowns. Trey McBride, 8 and 4. So, putting him in the slot is definitely getting the kind of production that we'd like to see. 200 yards, 4 touchdowns for Skattebo. Defensively, Baron Browning, 9 sacks, leading the team. Not brutal for a 3-4. Interception numbers, Barrett Carter, the linebacker, with 4. Zaven Collins moving from edge to more inside. Again, we're trying to kind of follow that Zach Bond approach. He had a nice season from the inside. Cam Skattebo is our only player to bring home some hardware. He got Offensive Rookie of the Year, which is a superstar dev increase, and then he just randomly lost his dev trait. Cool. So he's back on a star. Also had the retirement of James Conner. Start the offseason, we're going to pick up the 5th-year option for Paris Johnson Jr., who I still think, like, ceiling-wise, he's definitely going to be a 90-plus overall franchise tackle for us. All right, this is a live look. Have yet to see who the available free agents are. I think our best chance, our best path at a quarterback, considering we have the 5th overall pick. Dolphins lost 1-6, 2 1-16 teams. I get Drake May. Our best path to a quarterback is likely going to be through free agency. Let's see if we get a good role. Sometimes you'll see Brock Purdy, and by the look, I'm not saying that that's what I want, but Brock Purdy did have 47 touchdowns and 4,500 yards. But a lot of times it's usually junk. But with my plan roughly being quarterback. Ooh. Oh. What a garbage roll. Is that like the Zach Wilson revival? I'm not gonna lie, not doing a whole lot for me because he's 27. Like if he was 25 and 70, knowing he has well over 90 plus throw power. Like what does a 1-year deal look like? 1 year 9. I'll throw that out there, I guess, and we'll see. I don't see anyone else really rushing to pay him. But I will say, as a team that has well over $100 million, we're willing spenders. I need to turn this team around. We're transitioning from a 3-4 to a 4-3. So I am in the market for, revamping the offensive front a little bit. Doesn't exist. Travis Jones might be the best of bunch, even then there's a limited ceiling there. It's like, well, what do you got at pass rush? Like, all right, Mafe. Honestly, Mafe should probably be a higher rating than that. Really good pass rusher for the Seahawks. Like old linebackers. Corners are all like 30 plus. Like this is, we got safety. Our safety room is good. That's like the one position we don't need, especially last year after paying Javon Holland. Just an absolutely brutal free agency period. And we're gonna leave with Zach Wilson on a 1 year, and now I have to strongly consider a quarterback in the draft this year. So looking at the players The quarterbacks in particular, there's one. And even the one is whelming, to say the least. Iamaleava, the quarterback out of Tennessee. I was really hoping we'd find, like, look, Weigman from A&M could be in play. I was really hoping Kate Klebnik would have a ring. But there's just 0 steals here. And as far as focus scouting, because we do have a high pick, you know, in the switch to defense, we got TJ Parker, who's a first rounder. We got Anthony Hill Jr. from Texas, speed rusher, first rounder. Peter Woods at D tackle from Clemson, blue chip player, first rounder. DJU's younger brother from Oregon, power rusher, first rounder. So, you know, kind of looking at the mock draft, we are in a spot to get Iamaleava. And every player that we are interested in is going around our range. So there's not really a trade down scenario. I'm going to be honest. This is from a rebuild standpoint. This is a Skattebo rebuild. Iamaleava is a good enough, hype enough prospect to be his own rebuild. And he's also not necessarily a slam dunk for us at this point, considering we also need defensive talent. And there's a plethora of them. Then we go in here looking at, like, what quarterbacks are on the Jackson Dart, Spencer Rattler. JJ McCarthy, Vikings could be open-minded there a little bit. Honestly, that's probably, I just went through all the teams. That's probably, like, what do they want for JJ McCarthy? They don't. Like a 2? All right. And he's on his rookie contract, so if it doesn't work out, you know, we're not committed to franchise quarterback money. This honestly is not a bad situation because McCarthy is a dual threat quarterback, so we could kind of run some of the similar schemes that we've had in Arizona that might coexist and overlap with the new offense. Let's see what it do. So a live look at our team with the addition of JJ McCarthy gives us some optimism on the offensive side of the ball. And if he can pan out for us, it definitely would work out. We still got to kind of solidify the interior of the O-line long term, but like the offense, I'm cautiously optimistic. Defensively, in the switch from a 3-4 to a 4-3, here's kind of how we're playing it. Baron Browning could kick down as an edge rusher, but he's pretty close because he was an off-ball linebacker when he started his career. So his difference between being a power rusher and a run-stopping linebacker is not gigantic. It's enough that like that's how he can get on the field. And we might be able to justify edge rusher here. But, I mean, a decent transition. We're taking Darius Robinson, 285, and we're going to kick him inside the defensive tackle, and maybe that opens things up for him. We could always look at a big-time corner. We're definitely hurting for, you know, corner 2 on the outside, and Bunting is getting up there in age a little bit. He's pretty much at his ceiling. So I think clearly defense is where we want to go, be it D-tackle or edge rush. So on the clock with the number 5 pick, looking at who went. It went TJ Parker, who would have been on our board, Ruben Bain on our board, Mateo Ugiagale. Probably butchered that a little bit. One of these days I'll be able to nail it. DJU's brother, Baby U. We are now at pick number 5, which technically it could be a moment that we look back upon that you know, there is a quarterback that we are deciding to pass on here. So that if JJ McCarthy's not the guy, could be a thing. But looking at the players that we have scouted, I think it's definitely down to Peter Woods at D tackle, A power, B finesse, B tackle, B block shed, 6'2", 350. He's an absolute beast, man. He reminds me a lot of Fletcher Cox. Or we have the grade Anthony Hill, who would be a defensive end in our scheme. Very similar to Baron Browning in a way, but like 3 A's, B block shed, elite, like 4.4 speed. Kind of feel like that's where we want to go. Let's do it. I mean, push comes to shove. You're going good edge rush over good D tackle at the end of the day. And Anthony Hill is number 9 in true value, getting him at pick number 5. Hidden dev, big time speed, big time playmaker, and we need double-digit sacks. This is a slight cheese pick because I drafted him before and I know he has a dev trait, but we probably need corner as our next big need. We have the fastest corner. Ravel from East Carolina. 104 in true value at 37. Oh, this is an upgraded class from the last time I would have drafted Ravel. Not what you want to see for a top 5 pick in the second round. Third round, our BPA, we have Ingram Dawkins from Georgia Scouting. He's a bigger defensive end, could give us a little bit of flex play, but for a third round pick, third round talent, a power move, pretty decent combine, very much a BPA. My board doesn't look particularly great right now, and he's number 66 in true value, getting me a pick 69, and he has a dev trait, so we might need to find a way to get him on the field sooner than later. All right, so looking at our draft here as we close it out. I'm going to take Dawkins and move him on the inside as an undersized D tackle. Now, we have Darius Robinson, who's also undersized, and we're going to, that works when you're a non-Power 5 school in college. I don't know how much I love it in the pros, but he is hidden dev. Might need to find a way to get him on the field. Revel in the second round, 70 normal. Not really a home run pick by any means. And then we got Anthony Hill Jr., a definite home run pick, 77 hidden dev. And we are going to put him down on the line, and maybe his rating goes up a little bit. For us, he is going to be our left defensive end. And he goes from 77 to a 77. JJ McCarthy had a hell of a training camp, coming out with 2 skill points. We will do the right thing and make sure we pump it into what Kenny Dillingham wants out of a quarterback. Which, from watching the couple Arizona State games that I did watch this year, definitely like a skill set that JJ McCarthy would thrive in. Quarterback that can play out of the pocket, off script. And he got some great targets to throw to, and he can just hand the ball off to the beast known as Cam Skattebo. All right, let's see it. First pass for JJ McCarthy in a Cardinals uniform at home, week 1 against the Rams. Maybe get something easier to McBride. There we go. You got it, first and goal. How about no pressure whatsoever? Give it to number 4. Next drive up, goal to go. You know where we're going with this. Oh, and he wants to. Oh, look, he still looks for contact to run over a D tackle. Ooh, this should line out nice for McBride. A rout of the Rams in the season opener so far. Ugh, check the check down. Come on. Maserati Marv, more like Mazda Marv. This one. Fire that in there. Oh. Oh my God, catch the ball. Slant Marvin Harrison, top of the screen. Come on. Nope. There we go. Terrible coverage by the Rams. And all said and done, able to start and finish it. Second half, not great. But a win is a win nonetheless for a new era here in Arizona. Kenny Dillingham, first win as a head coach. JJ McCarthy, first win in his first start. Maybe we got something here. We're just running through the division. Week 2, we beat the 49ers 35-17 with a J.J. McCarthy 5-touchdown player of the week performance. We got something here. We're 4-0. We just swept the knock. Here we go. We're going to stay live. Keep it, because these are 2 tough ones. Atlanta is a tricky sim team, and then you got Kansas City the week after. And how we fare in these ones, if we go 0-2, 1-1, 2-0, I think will give us a good value on how valid our hot start is to the season. And if we have a... All right, so we absolutely just beat the brakes off the Falcons. Murphy bunting, interception, forced fumble, 2 fumble recovers. How do you handle against the cheat code? Arizona 5-0. Yeah, there's still the cheat code. How about this? Keep it here live, because we'll go right up here to the week 8, because that's usually like when I like to look at contracts. Because it's Dallas, so you get the 2 super tricky teams. Well, that kind of sucks losing to the Raiders. I think for this, we should look at scouting. Let's go corner. All right, so we lost to the Chiefs. But we have a great opportunity against Dallas. 2-5 Dallas. Nothing crazy, Dallas, but we know the sim does weird, wacky things. Okay, our team's kind of falling back down to earth here a little bit. Now that we have an idea of how we want to rebuild this team, who wants to be a part of it? We have $196 million. Now we have fifth-year options from Marvin Harrison, JJ. Probably not picking up the one on Darius Robinson unless he has a hell of a year. But I mean, Will Hernandez has done his job. We'll get a replacement lined up. Oh, I don't want to replace both guards, though. Okay, we have so much, and he wants to buy in. Like a 1 year, that's a Band-Aid until we can get to the next year's draft, where guards should be easier to find. It's a lot for Washington. Be like a role player. A lot of these guys, there's not a lot of reasonable contracts coming across my desk. I mean, that's not brutal. Just to have some depth at corner, but limited ceiling. Got Baron Browning, who's not a perfect fit for our scheme anymore. However, that's reasonable for like an edge rusher. I mean, again, it's just kind of like a one less position we have to worry about if he wants to buy in. And if he's by his interest, he is buying into the position change. I think Murphy Bunting on a 1 year, very similar like Will Hernandez at guard, just kind of gives us a 1 year Band-Aid to worry about that position a little bit later, even though I am focus scouting corners this year. Ojulari at pass rush. I mean, you could just see there's still a good ceiling there. $10 million. He better freaking hit it. 4 year, 48. All right, locked in. Now, Zaven Collins doesn't seem over the moon about his new role. And Michael Wilson, I mean, as a third option, I would like to keep him around. We just got so much money. I don't want to say it's careless, but... Oh, Collins took that deal. So I never think we come back from Michael Wilson. But again, all you got to look is at the players that we have to talk about for fifth-year options as to why we shouldn't be throwing around money like crazy. Especially if J.J. McCarthy's playing well. That dev trade should be going up, which also means zeros get added to that contract extension. Damn, bounce back win with another Player of the Week performance. J.J. McCarthy, 4 touchdowns, and then Ingram Dawkins, 5 sacks. Huh. Cool. Oh, that 5-sack performance, he got 5 skill points, and we are like slowly kind of but surely converting him into a D tackle from a big defensive end. Like a run-stuffing D end. So, even though he got 5 sacks, we will do the responsible thing, and at least if we're cheesing, I don't want to say it's cheesing his position, but if you're going to be an undersized D tackle, you got to be able to play good against the run, kind of like a Milton Williams for the Philadelphia Eagles. Unless Javon Hargrave, formerly of the Eagles, now of the San Francisco 49ers. So that is what we're hitting him with. What a freaking player he's been. What a diamond in the rough. And for Anthony Hill, he's already at 10 sacks this year. And he got himself 3 points. Now, I've kind of been fluctuating between speed and power. And I never think that's a bad thing. I think this is one of the few positions where I think it's worth spending points in both. Just because the more ways that your player can win and get after the quarterback, I want a guy that's 99 power, 99 finesse. So he can just, like Myles Garrett. Also should be known, Anthony Hill, superstar dev. Let's go. Over by 40 bomb on the Chicago Bears. Okay. So Green Bay Packers offense, which I just kind of went because, I'm not going to lie, Googled what offense is kind of similar to what Dillingham runs. And literally I just saw Green Bay. Might have no validity. I was like, screw it, good enough. Interesting offense. I think about Green Bay's offense. It's like, all right. J.J. McCarthy, similar to Jordan Love. They run the ball with Josh Jacobs, power back, Cam Skattebo, have depth at wide receiver, different playmakers. What we got seems to align. What? This is unreal. And I know cheese, but I mean, when you have something this drastic, this is organic. We have built something quite drastic. Last year, 4-13. This year, we might go 13-4. So it is fitting. We go 13-4, a year removed from going 4-13. Almost wonder like something under the hood's going on there for us to get that exact opposite record. But yeah, we won a bunch and then we lost to the Chargers in the season finale. I like to think, to make myself feel better about that was us resting our starters because we had the 1 seed locked up and we win our first NFC West title. I want to see the stats here. How in the hell did this come? Okay, okay, we'll look for the negatives because there's not going to be a whole lot. 60 picks is high, but for a first-year starter, essentially a rookie, when you're throwing 45 touchdowns on the other side of that, Green Bay. I'd like to think like as far as franchise goes, I know a lot. And I know that if you want cheese offense, Green Bay has been maybe a fringe team to consider, like the same way you talk about maybe Philly or the Bengals. But I would consider them like an S tier super meta, like at the Dallas Cowboys or the Kansas City Chiefs. We got something here. And we had the balance, like we ran the football. Skattebo, 1,300 yards. What's that, third in the league? 11 touchdowns. Receiving. Maserati Marv, 107 catches, 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. Trey McBride, 1,000 yards, 13 touchdowns. Michael Wilson, we just re-signed to a contract. Double-digit touchdown production. Honestly, I had to find anything to nitpick. It would be like maybe a little more Skattebo as a receiver out of the backfield. Defensively, the transformation. Barrett Carter led the team 110 tackles, 17.5 sacks, 8 TFLs for the rookie Anthony Hill. We made the right call. 10 sacks, Baron Browning. Re-signed him. Ingram Dawkins had 5 sacks in the game, finished with 10 for a rookie defensive tackle. Darius Robinson is much better as a defensive tackle than he was as a 3-4 defensive end. 13 TFLs leading the team with 7.5 sacks. Our pick numbers are great, but at least you have like a standout corner in Murphy Bunting. That's a little disrespectful to have J.J. McCarthy down at 9, but it makes sense. You can justify it because the interceptions were pretty high. Oh, Jordan Love. Okay, so there's something here with the Green Bay offense. Goddamn right, year 1, Kenny Dillingham wins Coach of the Year. Anthony Hill Jr., runner-up for Defensive Player of the Year. Runaway favorite for Defensive Rookie of the Year. For what it's worth, Murphy Bunting, no hardware, but top 3 for DB of the Year. From where we had no good play the first 2 years to having a top 3 corner in the conference. Now it's put up or shut up time. All of that, all of the great, all of the drastic turnaround will mean nothing if we can't go on a little bit of a playoff run. I'd say, because we have no playoff success, I won't be crushed if we can at least get to the NFC Championship a year removed from a 4-win season. We have the Washington Commanders and Jaden Daniels standing in our way. Tricky opponent. But with how we played this year, confidence very high. And we have the Niners, who we swept in the regular season. I mean, this is a minimum of 5 years. I am shocked. I thought as soon as we traded Kyler Murray, and then as soon as the quarterbacks were terrible, and we're like, oh, I guess we got Zach Wilson. This was going to be a very long, challenging rebuild. And then just instantly, oh, no, not really. And it's not like, again, heard Green Bay was like similar and thought it was similar. That's why I picked the offense. And I knew they didn't suck. I knew it wasn't like an offense that struggles in the sim. But it's not like, I'm like, oh, guys, look, we fired the coach. I made Dillingham. Offense was Kansas City, and defense, well, I mean, defensively, Bills, I know, are pretty reliable. But they're reliable. They're not, I would say, S tier. They're just someone that I know I can count on, that my sack numbers aren't dog shit. So it's not like I'm coming here clues like, oh, look, how are we doing so good in the drastic turnaround, knowing that I went with, like, the Chiefs playbook. No. This was organically, like, what I thought was 2 playbooks that made sense. And we made an aggressive move to go get a quarterback. That weird situation with Minnesota, because clearly I do think he's still in real life, and even in Madden, you got to go with Sam Darnold with how he's playing right now. It just worked out. There's no other way to put it. Offensively, it was a stellar performance. Anthony Hill Jr. continues to be ridiculous. And again, it's just another one where it's like in an alternate universe, we don't make that trade. We draft the Tennessee quarterback, and we don't have the best young pass rusher in the NFL on our team. So we're going to hop in. I think we'll just grab a front row seat from this one. For the 49ers, 10-7 on the year. You look at it, top 10 offense. You got Purdy playing well. You got Bosa. You got Fred Warner still there. But, I mean, to a man, interesting matchup. And knowing that we beat them twice in the regular season, I would imagine we would be the favorites in this matchup, especially at home. Now, as we go to this game, if I'm keeping it 100, while it'd just be insane to go on and get the Super Bowl, we don't have the luxury of all the years of J.J. McCarthy's rookie contract. So there is definitely an element to release the pressure. This is our second of like these new realistic rebuilds that we're doing. If we can get a Super Bowl before it comes time to pay JJ McCarthy. Because once that point in time comes, things are going to be very, very tough to have a very competitive team. So if we can win while he's still on a rookie contract, that is going to be gigantic for this team's long-term success. And we still got 3 more years after this one to run it back. But take a look at this matchup. Interception thrown by JJ McCarthy after the touchdown. So we are now tied at 7 apiece. Just feed Scat. Which is pause, because, you know, that's a category on a site that seek help. That's what you're, you know. Starling Thomas with an interception, 72 yards. Puts us in great position to punch that in, and we're up a touchdown with 2:51 to go. We need our elite defense to try to make a stop here. Need that pass rush going. But it looks like we are likely headed to overtime where we need a touchdown. I'm going to hop in once. Just once, because this is so special. If I can at least give him a kick in the butt, and or I'll outright ruin this drive and cost us a chance at a Super Bowl. But we're going to get it with JJ McCarthy. Oh, dual threat. High 80 speed. Like, I'm pretty sure they got rid of, like, dual threat quarterbacks in the high school rankings. I get it, especially after the whole Lamar Jackson thing. But I'm pretty sure McCarthy was, like, in the class where they still had and classified dual threat quarterbacks. It's another 4th down. Can we get it? No. All right. I mean, hell of a run. Very difficult to beat a team 3 times in one season. I didn't really want to help too much more. We're early on in this rebuild. It was not meant to be. But for year 1 of the Kenny Dillingham era, we're going to be back next year with a vet. We're only going to be better next year. We're not going to lose anything. We have a bunch of draft capital. Have a bunch of salary cap. Let's go. Look at our team as we clean out our lockers. Disappointingly, not after a Super Bowl. The good news, Trey McBride up to a superstar. Cam Skattebo, who should have been a superstar after his rookie campaign, got absolutely robbed. Gains it this year. And what's most important, and now maybe adds a little bit more pressure to win before we have to pay him, JJ McCarthy is a superstar. Now, he does have a pretty outrageous +6 to his base rating, but no matter what way you cut it, he's 24 years old, superstar dev, 84 overall quarterback, put the C on his chest. But if he plays like this and repeats, he will be an X factor by the end of next season. Now, for our squad, we're going to decline the 5th-year option on Marvin Harrison Jr. so that we could just pay him next year. We're going to decline the 5th-year option on JJ McCarthy so we can just pay him and get that contract out of the way. We're going to decline the 5th-year option on Darius Robinson just because I think that number is going to be, much lower if we give him a contract extension. And I think it's going to be probably a lighter free agency than expected when you see that 161 mil, because I want that to carry over so we have no risk of losing out on any of our top dogs that we clearly need to re-sign. So where we need to improve, center and guard, manageable. Not deal breakers. Defensively, love our front. Linebacking core, so it's corner. So if we're going to spend money, I'd love to see a good corner role in free agency. Brian Branch, he's a nickel corner. He's listed as strong safety, but he is a corner. Interesting. Because at corner, not much there. And I mean, I focus scout at corner for the upcoming draft. But that's a lot of money, though. Can't do it. Now, here's one that I will pick because it's a little bit less, and it's at a more valuable position for a player that is very, very familiar with the Green Bay Packers scheme. Elton Jenkins on the off. Oh, never mind. Not even going to gas him up because he's... All right, cool. So what we will do is we will bring in Joel Bitonio on a 1-year rental so that our offensive line will have somewhat a resemblance for where it was a year ago. Now, as far as the draft goes, got a couple talents fully scouted. Sammy Brown linebacker, not a big need. We have Kayin Lee, the corner from Auburn, is a first-round talent. We have Kobe Black from Texas. A little bit of a reach, but he could be available in the 2nd round. So, I mean, all our eyes right now, Kayin Lee, that'd be a great pick for us to get at the end of the 1st. While it'd be cool to be talking about maybe we're getting Jeremiah Smith who is terrifyingly good as a freshman, or Dylan Stewart, or Arch Manning, or Ryan Williams. We kind of just got to go down. Where is Lee going? Hopefully he's going to be available to us. I would probably trade up, honestly, if we had to, just a little bit to secure his services. And he's still going to be there, so good fit. So at pick 30 in the first round of the 2027 draft, our final draft with realistic college players at a position of need, we are going to select Kayin Lee. Corner, man-to-man corner from Auburn. B-man, C-press, C-zone. I'm not going to lie, probably wouldn't blind pick and be able to, break down from blind picking that he would be a first-round talent. But he is number 20 in true value, getting him at pick 30. No depth trait. Lane. Need a center, so we're here in the second round. I feel like I might have drafted this guy before. We had Ashton Craig, B pass block, A run block out of Notre Dame. We got to replace Froholt. We let walk into free agency. And are we able to? Number 62 in true value at pick 62. And we got a depth trait. Let's go. We ended up with a pretty good draft, all things considered. Some depth players that are solid. We got London Humphrey, 71 normal from Georgia. Teo Johnson from Utah, the 72 safety. BPA on our board with a depth trait. Gives us a little bit of security just because Jalen Thompson's not no spring chicken no more. Craig, 72 with the depth trait, will be a day one starter for us at center. And Kayin Lee, no depth trait, 74 overall. We have guys like that in our secondary. I was really hoping for a depth trait so that would provide us with someone with a higher ceiling than what we currently have. But he's just going to add himself right to the competition. Potentially could start sooner than later. If you were worried, and I was a little worried, that there would be regression, and last year was kind of an outlier year, well, we start week 1 of year number 3 with a complete ass kicking over the Seattle Seahawks. 42-9. Offense, defense, getting the job done, and it is 6 touchdowns for J.J. McCarthy. Hate seeing the pick, though, because the pick, they were a little high last year. So we start the season 3-0. All 3 wins coming in divisional play. So sitting well atop the NFC West. But early in the year, I want to get to these contracts because the longer you wait, the more expensive things you're going to get. $200 million of available salary. I'm trying to think who's going to be a big contract that we still have. Kelvin Banks going to pick up the option. Trey McBride. Maybe, did we already pay him? Am I brain farting on that one? But I mean, either way, there's a lot of money. So Jalen Thompson, we did just bring in a hidden dev safety, so that could be his successor. Murphy Bunting. That's honestly a reasonable 1-year deal. Let's kind of get like a little deal like that out of the way. A little win, a little momentum. Get that snowball effect going. I do want to pay Darius Robinson, but he kind of has to be last. Paris Johnson, you pay your franchise tackle. Now, is he going to... We're probably going to hit him with a player-friendly 4-year, $118 million. There's one done. Maserati Marv. I'd wonder if we can get him with a neutral. Doesn't want to stay here. I don't know why. J.J. McCarthy, oh my god, 245, 5-year, 240. Okay, so he's out of the way. Darius Robinson will just start with a neutral because he might take it. But with the way that he played last year, worthy of that contract, but we have to get Marvin Harrison Jr. signed. Got Darius Robinson signed on a 3-year, $39 million deal. Now, this is our third chance at trying to re-sign Marvin. There's a chance he declines this. He might just want to dip. We're going to try 4-year, $136 million. Close. Oh, 4-year, 140? Come on! I mean, I will franchise tag him if he keeps playing around. But let's see. We'll bump that up to 45. I'll go 45. Huh. You enjoy playing for me? You're going to test out the franchise tag, bitch. So year 3 ends up almost a carbon copy of year 2. We go 13-4, enough for the 1 seed and an NFC West title, our second in a row for both. Take a look at stats. Skattebo was a 3rd leading rusher in the league. J.J. McCarthy, 4,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, and he cut his interceptions in half. Let's go. Skattebo, almost 1,300 yards on the ground and 10 touchdowns. Very nice. Receiving, Mr. Franchise Tag himself, Marvin Harrison Jr., over 100 catches, 1,200 yards, only 4 touchdowns. Michael Wilson, 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. Trey McBride, 8 yards shy of 1,000 with 14. That could be X-Factor territory for Mr. McBride. Defensively, Barrett Carter, tackle machine. Our sack numbers look, kind of fell off a cliff. Don't know exactly what changed. I mean, again, not brutal numbers. At least we have one guy getting double digits. Our interception numbers, fairly similar to what they were a year ago. Kenny Dillingham wins his 2nd straight Coach of the Year award. And weirdly, I don't want to say unfortunately, because it's never unfortunate to win some hardware, but like weirdly, our only award winner is our 1-year rental at guard in Joel Batonia. In the first round of the playoffs, not my favorite role is we get the Dallas Cowboys, who are pretty good. Number 5 offense in the league, number 1 in terms of passing yards, top 10 defense in passing yards against. Okay. Won't be easy. Suck it. 36-14. We got to run through the NFC, so we want to get the Super Bowl. J.J. McCarthy. I don't know how that gets player of the week, but cool. What stands between us and a Super Bowl appearance is the Battle of the Birds, the Philadelphia Eagles. And since I've been an Eagles fan, Arizona has definitely been one of those teams that has been boogeyman territory for us. Really last year, I remember last year we had a chance for like a bye. Then it's like they were like kind of the tipping point of the Eagles blowing up a year ago. It's always kind of been like that. Like back to when they had Larry Fitzgerald going for like 700 yards against us every time we played. Another tough role, man. Would have loved like a Commanders team or something like that to show up. I don't like the fact that the news stories about Devontae Smith. But we both have weekly award winners. Oh, they probably won. If we're just trying to guess. Oh, man, 2 straight fucking... Damn. I mean, hey, that's not a great showing. Scott did his job. Mr. Franchise Tag at least got a touchdown. Defensively, Hill was solid, but... Missing something. Missing piece. I don't know what that is. Is it corner? Shot down corner? As far as depth traits are concerned, Trey McBride does get the gain there up to an X factor, which is nice. Everyone else maintained. Craig, our hidden dev center, is a star. On the defensive side of the ball, everything kind of as expected. No progression or regression. So to start the offseason, we're going to franchise tag Marvin Harrison Jr. on a $35 million deal, which is honestly not a terrible decision. We're going to pick up the 5th-year option for Kelvin Banks, who's developed into a very nice right tackle. We have a successor in place for Jalen Thompson. Going to lose a little bit of depth. We're going to need a new starting guard, but totally doable, especially with the draft picks we have in the upcoming year. Kind of wish I didn't pay Darius Robinson, because I'd be all over bringing Jalen Carter in at D-tackle. We should be throwing around money like crazy because our contracts for extensions is only going to get worse because our team's really good. But Terry Arnold had full green bar and wanted to join the team. We're desperate for corner help. Let's go. Cooper DeJean. I kind of wish it was inverse because Cooper DeJean is not a safety, but Arnold's a good get. So we're down to the 2028 draft. Very clear needs. We need 2 starting guards. Our left guard and right guard spot both are vacant. So we are in the market. And taking a look at what we have, we're going to unfortunately have to blind pick, and there's no projected first round kind of slam dunk. We have Enrique Rose. Who you got? B, probably B. Ooh, elite strength, huh? I don't think we overthink it. I think we just rip that Band-Aid off and gamble at the elite strength will translate to a depth trait, which it usually doesn't let us down. 18 in true value at 29. Let's go, day 1 starter. Now we have pick 14 and pick 29 in the second round, and that is where we definitely want to go get another guard. So we got Byrne, who has B run block, and elite strength as well. Good to know. I don't think anything too crazy. I mean, you can always move a center in. We got B pass block on Hannah. Don't know the run. It has A run block. And he's like a bigger center, like a believable guard. BA. Strength could be better. Or what do we have for like the straight up left guards? Villarreal, we don't know. B run block. Oh my god, look at this guy. Veldman. A pass block. I'm in. Maybe no depth trait, but I think the rating will be all right. 33 in true value at 46, and we get the depth trait. And with our second round pick, our secondary needs, honestly, one is tight end because, we kind of get a little cute with our tight ends. Pause, but you know what I'm saying. All right, we have 2 A-catching tight ends. A-catching traffic on Freeman out of Florida, huh? A short route running on Price. Honestly, Combine could be... It's day 3. That is an absolute reach getting the second round. I have down written in my needs. Could use depth at linebacker. A zone coverage on Kitchens. When you're on a 4.6 is a little up there. What do you have middle linebacker? This is where you want to look for speed. Ooh, we got some speed here. 4.5 on Curtis Howard. A tackle, A block shed. Clock is running. Wolf 4.69. That's pretty slow. He also has A tackle. We got here Wentz 4.61. A tackle, A zone, and he does have elites. I mean, think about it. Because I think we can get one of those tight ends in the 3rd round. We'll get some depth here. Number 7 in true value at 61. I mean, no depth trade, but I'll take the value all day long. All right, we're going to go back to the tight ends. Let's make the right decision here. We have Justin Price, who has A-catching, B-catching traffic from a combine standpoint. Does have elite strength, which I do like, but he's almost a 4.9. He's not like a 272 like a blocker, so that's not ideal. Freeman was the other one here out of Florida. A-catching traffic. 4.7, which is marginally better. I think the double A's are where we need to go. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he has the higher rating and no depth trait, and the elite strength tight end does have a depth trait, if the trends continue from what we've seen in years past. But Freeman, number 42 in true value at 7.8, not a bad pick at all, and we actually do get a depth trait with just an obscure 91 agility. Huh. All right, draft recap time. I think we did an outstanding job. An absolute outstanding job. Like a stellar that. We got a 70 wideout in Will Whitlock, the burner out of Louisville in the 7th round. Yeah, Chase Speed. It's cheese. I'm not going to pat myself on the back. Hey, the guy that runs a 4.25, he's probably going to be pretty good. We got Holloman here, 73 normal corner in the 3rd round. Freeman, 73 with a dev trade. Wentz, no dev, but 76 overall, a top 10 player in the class. Veldman, 74 with a dev trait, day 1 starter. And Enrique Rose, 75 with a dev trait, day 1 starter. Now, I've read the comments. People want me to kind of showcase some of the other players from our drafts. I don't like doing this with the realistic classes, because those realistic classes are blind to me. I don't want knowing what the ratings are. I want to be surprised when we find the ratings. But once we get into generic classes, absolutely we'll kind of recap who is what. And looks like the New England Patriots would pick 1-1, get themselves an 81 hidden dev speed rusher. Congrats on them. So going into year 4, we have some pretty big changes on the offensive line. 2 new starting guards. Couldn't have asked for a better role of a draft class. We also have Trey McBride, who is really a wide receiver. So the addition of Freeman at tight end is going to really just kind of complete this offense, as every single starter is going to have a dev trait. On the defensive side of the ball, we need to see the kind of production we had 2 years ago, where almost everybody on the D-line had double-digit sacks. We had 2 dudes with, 4+ interceptions in the secondary, making and forcing all the turnovers. We need the year 2 defense and not last year's year 3 defense. But this is absolutely a Super Bowl contending team. Coming into week 10 of year 4, we built a juggernaut. I don't know. If you were a Cardinals fan hoping for more challenges, my apologies. I thought taking the trades we did, trading away Budda Baker, trading away Kyler Murray without a successor in place, was going to be the restart and reset this team needed, but also that second wave of challenge on top of already building on their current issues. We kind of created more issues, and we solved those very, very quickly. Our team is absolutely outstanding. Let's take a look at some contracts here. We have Marvin Harrison Jr. playing on a franchise. There's still zero interest in him returning, which is, that's a bummer, because that means if we want to keep him, we're going to have to overpay. We got Bear Carter's a starter. That's a lot of money, actually, we're going to need to wait on that one, because clearly the man of the rebuild, Cam Skattebo, 5-year. We could probably get him for 60. We gave him 58.5. We could probably get him 5 years, $60 million. And we have all Marvin Harrison. Let's see if we can hit him with a player friendly. 185 mil. Hey, there we go. He wants that guaranteed money. Sick and tired of playing on the tag. And before we even get to a renegotiation with Skattebo, we just absolutely pump the Bucks player of the week performance from J.J. McCarthy. Well, you know, I always kind of want to say that there's an element of people watching my videos that might like see what I do and be like, oh, that's interesting. I want to go do my own Cardinals franchise and do that. Well, trade Kyler Murray for J.J. McCarthy. Find a way to just swap those somehow. Trade Kyler Murray away. Trade for J.J. McCarthy. This is an absolute winning combination. So let's see if we can get him 5 years, 60. He knows. He knows he holds us over the, you know what. Skattebo knows we have no leverage because I can't lose him. He is this rebuild. He's the reason why we're doing this rebuild. So 565. Oh, he learned from Marvin Harrison Jr., the School of Hard Knocks. Congrats on the franchise tag. We might got something here. 15-2. We have the number one offense, number one. We got to win it. We still have one more year of the rebuild to go 5. This would be, and look, of course, Cam Skattebo is the best running back. And I bring this up now. We see Josh Jacobs there, right? But, like, if the argument somehow is like, well, you're just using, you know, the Packers play. They're 7-10. Their playbook was that damn good. They'd be playing like it's the perfect storm we have found. I first have to see who the two were. I'm gonna find it in there. Come on. Team schedule. We lost to the Rams, 49-43 in the opener. Just decided we weren't going to lose. We lost by 1 point to the Niners week 13. And I mean, in that, like a couple, I mean, you know what? We avoided a lot of the cheesy teams. We got the Bills, we got the Eagles wins on there. Those are not cakewalks. Atlanta can be cheesy from time to time and kick the crap out of them. We beat Green Bay. So we are in a terrific spot at 15-2. Gotta figure, man. This got to be the year. J.J. McCarthy outstanding first in the NFL in passing touchdowns, 4,300 yards, 44 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. He also had 400 yards on the ground and another 3 touchdowns, 1469 and 16 touchdowns for Skattebo. Outstanding numbers. Like this balance. This is the best. Screw the Chiefs. I mean, okay, we're not going to say anything bad about the Chiefs because we might meet them in the Super Bowl. But everyone knows Chiefs playbook. Counter argument. This is nice. We got 110. Like literally every single player with this setup is playing to their potential. It's not like we have a bad team that are putting up like just glitchy numbers. We have great players and they're playing like great players. 3,000-yard receivers. I got my tight end going there. Oh, defensively, show me some. 23 sacks for Anthony Hill Jr., 7 TFLs. We got 13 for Barry Browning. So both our pass rushers are eating. Both our D tackles are having solid seasons. And the interception numbers are solid. They're not elite. But if I had to give and take a little bit of interception numbers to have great sacks, great receiving, great rushing, and great quarterback play, I'm taking that every day of the week. Is our kicker good? Oh, he's actually, okay, there's the holdup. Our team, we have got to be the worst kicker in the league. 59%. Damn, J.J. McCarthy does not sniff the MVP, coming in 4th. He's the 3rd straight Coach of the Year award for Kenny Dillingham. He's been in the league for 3 years. And perfect for the rebuild, almost like a mini accomplishment. Cam Skattebo does win Running Back of the Year finally. And Anthony Hill Jr. with 23 sacks brings home a little bit of hardware. So at first, would have it any other way, a battle of the NFC West between the Rams and the Cardinals. The Rams beat us in the season opener. They got Arch Manning as their quarterback and Puka Nacua absolutely crushing it. A very legit, enough so that like I have a super team. I like to think I have a super team. Which, I mean, I've had higher rated teams in rebuilds. But I mean, I guess if we're just counting the Giants, it's like the new chapter to the realistic rebuilds here in Madden 25. I mean, that 93 offense is potent. But I think an argument can be made that while it's not the highest overall team I've had, we just put up, like, just, this is the best team I think I've had in a rebuild yet. 38-27 over the Rams, and we are back into the NFC Championship. And there's no Kansas City Chiefs on the other side. They didn't even make the playoffs. 38-27. Had no player of the week, so I kind of wonder what the stat line looks like. It was a clean game from J.J. McCarthy. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Skattebo continues to be the MVP. Marvin Harrison Jr. eats. Defensively, oh, we'll just get, okay, like literally all of our good players had great games in the play. You're going to win the Super Bowl that way. NFC Championship game against a team that's barely above 500 in the Atlanta Falcons. Now, not a bad team. 88, 88, and 89 defense. That's pretty damn good to be CPU built. But I won't upgrade my players because I think there's no level that they should compete with us. They're not the old school Madden 23 Desmond Ridder Falcons that just beat absolutely everybody. Wow, we barely won. Got a player of the week, 21-10. At least we're in the Super Bowl. Cam Skattebo with 95 yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. It's one of those things that's weird when they show the receiving numbers. It's like, oh, why do they include 2 catches for 12 yards? Cool. Glad that I have that info. But Skattebo, he got the thumbnail. He's the star of this rebuild. Playing like the star. When the lights shine brightest, you cannot ask for a better role, a better scenario. And the Super Bowl has been set. So we're waiting. Was it the Colts? And it is the Colts. And they're 9-8. And they're not particularly good. But their rankings aren't too shabby. Number 10 offense. Top 10 rushing yards. They got a great dual threat in Anthony Richardson. And a okay defense. Look, they're 31st against the run. Skattebo is going to eat. I don't even think I have to play. But we will give ourselves 3 opportunities to hop on the sticks. If somehow Jonathan Taylor, Josh Downs, Anthony Richardson can cause J.J. McCarthy, Cam Skattebo, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Anthony Hill Jr. a little bit of trouble. I think we're going to come in just to add on to an absolute beatdown. As it is 14. I'll come in and clean up duty. I mean, this is a special team. Like, we have maybe created a cheat code. Is that fair to say? Like, this combination. Now, there's always an element when you're talking about Madden franchise mode. Is it the playbook or is it what I built? You'd love to think somewhere in the middle there, it has to be a combo. Like, if you went out there with a team and just gave them what we were running playbook, oh, that needs to be more accurate. If you go with any team and go Packers offense, Bills defense, are they going to put up these kind of numbers? Or is it because we have what we have? They go for an onside kick. They do not recover it. Third, I mean, let's get a shot here. Come on, let's run. Where's Cam? You know what? I bet you we can get him out of the backfield. Let me just run someone over. Oh, brick shithouse. 4 touchdowns for J.J. McCarthy. You know, I do those. We beat the game. That's how you phrase this. We beat Madden with this team that we built. And we got one more year left of this rebuild. I think it should be like 0.8 point people. We'll be pretty much guaranteed to go right back to the Super Bowl. If it's anything like this season and kind of finish this thing out as a dynasty. But in year 4, after not only, I think, trading for Kyler Murray, there is risk we retraded for J.J. McCarthy because he already had burned some of his years, so I didn't have that entire window of a rookie quarterback contract, which is, you know, depending on who you ask, kind of like the necessary blueprint for building a Super Bowl contender in today's NFL, minus the Chiefs. But we still, you know, it just made the most sense because there was no good quarterback in free agency, didn't want to burn a quarterback in the draft, and it made sense that, like, in real life, that could happen. I wouldn't be shocked if that happens. If the Vikings commit to Sam Darnold, J.J. McCarthy's going on the trade block and they try to recuperate whatever. And we, went after that. We chased that in the rebuild, and we have been rewarded mightily. 4 touchdowns, no pick. I mean, he got the MVP. Skattebo was solid with 76 yards. Helse had a receiving touchdown. I mean, a little bit of a quiet game from some of our studs in the pass attack. Anthony, just incredible. Another 2 sacks. Browning and Zaven Collins getting it. Yeah, we beat the game. And it pays me to do this because he doesn't deserve it. And as someone that's very pro running back, Cam Skattebo, now a superstar X Factor, the best running back in the NFL, hitting him on the franchise. That feels so dirty, but I mean, he played his hand. We're willing to pay top-tier money to retain him here, and we're not letting him walk. We're going to bring back Barrett Carter. Now knowing that we don't have that long-term money committed to Skattebo, and there's only 1 year left in the rebuild, might as well spend the salary cap now. It's no good to us when we're dead. I also think with that mindset, Baron Browning had a decent year. Why not let him kind of close this rebuild out on a 1 year and be a valuable member of our pass rush? I think you're looking at, like, Garrett Williams also started for us in the slot. Give him a 1 year. And even with these 1 years, doesn't really prevent us from spending the rest of our salary cap in free agency, even if it's doubling up on these positions that we're handing contracts out for. I guess the highlight with Skattebo being an X Factor, J.J. McCarthy is also now an X Factor. And, old man Trey McBride, I don't necessarily think he should be having our X Factor. Clearly want the quarterback. Yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. Defensively, how? Terrion Arnold goes from star to superstar, which is great. Outstanding return on investment for signing him from the Lions in free agency. But how is Hill? 23 sacks. This is the most egregious no dev trade I think I've seen. D lineman of the year, sacks leader, won the Super Bowl, defensive player of the week of the Super Bowl, had like 2 sacks a game that whole playoff run. Keep him superstar. Well, at least put a little C patch on his chest. He earned it. Here's something I'm going to do. We do need an upgrade at safety. We know where we're at. We didn't. It wasn't Burt Bridges. Well, you got rid of Buda Baker. We honestly shipped him out like he earned an X Factor for us. Go win a ring. We're not ready yet. And if we can bring him back to kind of close this, that's a fitting end there. Plus, we also need upgraded safety, which he would provide. I want 1 corner as well. And all these guys are interested. It looks like, we might as well chase the ability. It's 1 year left. So we'll hit Marlon Humphrey. Let's just make sure we secure that because I don't need anything else. Actually, you know what we do need? I'm going to bring some competition at kicker because I'm sick and tired of my 50% field goal make. Even though Butker's an incel or something like that? I don't know. As long as he can make the kicks. There we go. 3 for 3. Secondary locked up. And hopefully, better than 59% kicker. And for our final first round pick of the 2029 draft, I focus go to defensive tackle. But I wonder if there's a chance we could just go pick best available. It was a nice looking corner. But I want to see the D tackle market here. We can trust our scout. There's no true first round, but Bernal out of Boise State looks pretty good. A power, B finesse, combine, solid across the board. Second fastest 40-yard dash. Was a corner Beckham that looked real good. Is he still here? No, he's gone. So we'll trust our recruiting, our scouting, and everything in between, and assume that's good. I mean, he's gonna be, I think, hidden dev. If I had to call right now, just because it doesn't really matter, he's not gonna play. 75 hidden dev. Number 16. Okay, I was off. Number 18 in true value. Maybe not 75. Oh, dev trade. Never mind. Our draft class recap still ended up with a 71 corner, 74 wide receiver with some decent speed. Joe Beard. Player that's one of those guys like, probably more, well, not probably, definitely more upside than Tez Johnson, who's been our wide receiver 3 for a minute. And then we got Bernal there, 75, normal dev trait. A little bit of a bummer that there's no dev trait there, but that's still an outstanding pick for the final pick of the first round. Top player in the class. Oh, there's that corner I wanted, Beckham. Let's see, did he have a dev trait? Normal dev. I would have been angry either way. So we had a chance to absolutely set the pace for the rest of our Madden 25 realistic rebuilds as the team to beat. The team that, if all the other rebuild teams got put into one league, this team would still win the Super Bowl. Well, they can pretty much lock that down if we can be as dominant as we were last year. Here in year number 5 and repeat as Super Bowl champion. Offensively, 0 weakness, and that is an entirely homegrown offense. Either developing players that are already on the roster or prioritizing the offense on, premier draft picks, and then finding depth that's not playing anywhere else, bringing him in for very reasonable price. Didn't rip off the Vikings. They were sellers in that situation. And the offense is chef's kiss. Defensively, I think, the addition of Marlon Humphrey, kind of just spending cap to ensure that we can be as dominant. And I do think, kind of under the radar, great feel-good stories, being able to bring back Buda Baker. Mr. Arizona, never wanted to leave. Let's give him a ring. He earned it. He deserves it. A very quick update, just at midseason. We have a chance to go undefeated, 7-0 right now with the number 2 offense. So maybe pick that up a little bit but we got firmly the #1 defense in the league. Unable to pull it off. We go 15-2 for the second straight season. #4 offense. So a little bit of a drop off there, but Shadow Cam Skattebo, #1 rushing offense in the NFL. And just a juggernaut defensively. Absolutely disgusting play. We win the NFC West for the 4th straight year. And we are the 1 seed for the 4th straight year. Oh, I mean, who beat us? You got to find the negativity. Last year we lost to what? It was the Rams and the 49ers. And then this year we lost at the 1-point loss to the Giants. And the Niners, they've had our number. Scat, best running back in the league. Again, back-to-back seasons. J.J. McCarthy, you know, a little bit of a down year. But if that's a down year, you don't really have a whole lot of problems to nitpick that. Skattebo, 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. Receiving, Marvin Harrison Jr., incredible. 112 catches, 1,200 yards, 9 tutties. Trey McBride, I mean, going from 3,000-yard receivers to only 1 is, I wouldn't say concerning, kind of lame. Defensively, the sack numbers are still great. 17 on 18 TFLs for Anthony Hill Jr. What a draft pick. 13 sacks, Baron Brown, and glad that we brought him back on a 1-year. Darius Robinson, high pick of the Cardinals. Started this rebuild, kind of uncertain. What is his story? What does his future hold? And he has a breakout year. Just takes some, slow starter. Ingram Dawkins was like a mid-round pick. He's been incredible. Shout out Terry and Arnold leading the team with 5 interceptions. 4 years in the NFL, 4 Coach of the Year titles for Kenny Dillingham. Give it to someone. I don't even think Bill Belichick did that. So how do you motivate a team coming off a Super Bowl that goes 15-2 again? Well, you don't give a single one of my players an award after outstanding season. That's how you motivate them. It'd be fitting that we get the Green Bay Packers in our backyard in the first round. The team whose offense might have been one of the very big contributing factors for this turnaround for Arizona. And Jordan Love's playing outstanding football. He's coming off a 44-touchdown season. And I'm just starting to think we need to put a little more respect on this Green Bay Packers playbook. If you could take one thing away from these 6 total seasons, is that this is a damn good play. We do organic and realistic rebuild coach firings. When the offense isn't working out, I fire the coach, and we look who's available. Same with the defense. And I'm going to tell you right now that if I see Green Bay, pretty hard pressed not to pick Green Bay. As J.J. McCarthy gets a 4-touchdown, 300-yard performance in a victory. But you can't, it's expected. It is expected that we walk right back to the Super Bowl to win back-to-back. And in the championship game, we have a team that's just barely over 500 in the 9-8 Carolina Panthers, who offensively literally have the worst offense in the league, lowest scoring offense, worst passing offense. They have got here the old school way by playing good defensive football, the #3 defense in the league. But even then, look at our rankings. We are a better defense, a much better offense. I'll be absolutely shocked. The most disrespectful thing I could do is not upgrade my players. We're going to go in with the team as is, with the Super Bowl on the line. I mean, we are 4 straight years of being the 1 seed, 4 straight years of having extra rest. And I'll give credit where credit's due. That 34-20, it was competitive. Bryce Young, and the worst offense in the league, goes for 355 and 3 touchdowns. Luckily, the veteran Baron Browning with a 2-sack performance. Went to overtime. They were just testing fate. J.J. McCarthy also played very, very well. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Cam Skattebo, over 100 yards with a touchdown. 2-touchdown receiving for Michael Wilson. And on the defensive side of the ball, 2 sacks, Baron Browning. Sack and a half, Darius Robinson. Ingram Dawkins, Tid, with a sack. No picks or anything crazy like that. But hey, I'll always root for Bryce Young. And I'm happy that he's kind of figured it out right now. The Super Bowl has been set. The new dynasty against the dynasty of the 2000s. I remember a point in time, probably year 2 of this rebuild, I think there was like a 1-16 New England Patriots team with Drake May. And here they are, making the Super Bowl. Drake May's figured it out. 4,300 yards, 36 touchdowns. They got a decent, kind of dynamic, athletic backfield. You got Singleton from Penn State. Parker Washington come over from the Jags. He's a beast. There you go. They got Jeremiah Smith, maybe the scariest wide. He literally looks like Andre Johnson playing college football in his prime. Defensively, they got the Canadian Sidney Brown. They have T.J. Parker from Clemson, 18.5 sacks. They got T.J. Watt and Ed Oliver, so they've been throwing around a lot of money. They get Abdul Carter, so they have blue chip player after blue chip player on this defensive side of the ball. Christian Gonzalez included. Okay, this is going to be a tough one. And when we look at the tail of the tape, they have a top 10 offense, the top 10 passing offense. Drake May, who I've been a Drake May fan, and might not, I don't know. The debate of who's the best looking quarterback from this year's real life rookie class is certainly open for discussion because we've seen great things out of Drake May. You've seen flashes out of Caleb Williams. You've seen iconic moments that will live forever in Commanders history out of Jaden Daniels. Bo Nix has defied pretty much everybody's opinion on him and might get the Denver Broncos into the playoffs as a rookie. But I'm going to be honest. I feel, and it's very football hipstery, and I need to preface this by saying, in one side, I had Drake May as my number one quarterback, so I'm going to kind of defend and maybe be biased to that take. But on the other side, I hate the New England Patriots as much as anybody could hate the New England Patriots without being a direct rival in their division. I think Drake May's still the best quarterback, the most talented quarterback. If I had to pick right now, we did a redraft, and I had the number one overall pick. All the quarterbacks, all that we've seen them in their different schemes and systems with their levels of success, I still think I'm taking Drake May. So, glazed them up there a little bit. It is our time still here in the final game of our Arizona Cardinals Madden 25 realistic rebuild. 15-2, looking to repeat as Super Bowl champions, finish this as a dynasty. We're going to have to make life a living hell for Drake May. Enough to a point, that might be our next Madden 25 rebuild. I've been locked into what you guys want to see. I always say it, and I usually look for what you guys want for our next rebuild. That's how we did Deshaun Jackson, Delaware State, College Football 25 rebuild. Go check that out. Had a lot of fun with that one. And as Drake May, look at that iconic walkout. I think, it looks like the Patriots, at least as of right now, have the number one overall pick. So to kind of have that, who we draft, build around Drake, I think the Patriots might be our next realistic rebuild. But if you guys have something different, or you co-sign that should be it, let me know in the comment section below. There we go. We start with a touchdown drive. I want to play a little offense. It's the last chance we're going to have to play with Skattebo, and we're on this super team. Let's go over this drive. Feed number 4. And I'm someone that we get it, right? Pink slips. It's what we do on the channel. It's what I'm working on right now. Had a hiccup. It's coming, and I've been saying that it's coming for like a month now. But like I'm literally now like working on like trial runs to figure out how I want to do pink slips. And in the world of when you're using like modded content, some things are a little buggy, glitchy that I need to get kind of fixed. There's some loose wires, I'll say, for pink slips. But it is being worked on actively behind the scenes. But I'm known for pink slips, and what pink slips is almost essentially I pick the best athletes, the lowest rating, and try to make it good. The downside of that, let's go JJ, is, I don't get to play with a lot of guys like Skattebo, who are very good, but not very fast, but they have like crazy break tackle, crazy trucking, which is like my favorite style of running back. Just never really relates to my favorite style of content. So I'm relishing the opportunity here to play with an absolute hoss, an absolute power back. Oh, so are the Patriots. Oh, we got him. Boom. McBride gets behind Gonzalez. That's one of the best corners in the NFL. Deep into Patriot territory. They are definitely selling out to stop the run. You got a plan. Maybe get him out in space. That's what makes Skattebo, I think, athletically speaking, and this is kind of what I said right when we started this whole video, is, Judkins, Genty, Marion Hampton. You can look at the MPH that those guys hit in college. Like, they're gonna run fast. They're gonna probably, for RAS scores, even with the RAS scores, if you're a draft nerd, they're gonna put up big time scores. Skattebo, he might, honestly, but he also might not. But I think that there's a value. Skattebo literally is a complete running back. He will pass pro his ass off. He can catch. He can, it's kind of a requisite there. Out of the backfield. Weapon. Oh, don't get picked. Luckily, that was a defensive end dropping in coverage. Or he would have been punished. But, he can literally do everything. And I think that's where his added value is going to be. He's like, all right, well, he's not the S-tier athlete. He's a B-plus athlete. But he pass blocks. And his versatility as a receiver is, almost as dynamic as Genji's RB1. As big-time touchdown right there. J.J. McCarthy shows off the dual threat ability. Defense, give me another stop here. We go into oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Come on. Give me to the fourth. I'll take over in the fourth. Let's go. But my point being is that there is going to be immense value. The different hats that Skattebo can wear on the offense, I think that's what it's going to get drafted high. Not necessarily this guy is a prolific athlete. This guy here's Devin Achan 2.0. No, he's a beast. He's going to be an awesome football player. Oddly enough, James Conner-ish. James Conner is a power back. Got soft hands in the pass game. James Conner is a power back that you feel comfortable can catch 50, 60 balls a year. He's a power back that you feel comfortable you can leave out there on third down because you know he's going to pick up a blitz. Fittingly enough, he's a James Conner successor in this rebuild. Safe grab. Ooh, McCarthy threw a pick. Wasn't me. Shaggy. Give it to him on the one. Feed him again. Light box. They are not. It's just unwilling to meet him. He's looking for contact. But with that touchdown, I will be shocked if we find a way to blow this. Come on, fellas. Dynasty. Super Bowl number 2 in a row. Our second official on this new wave of Madden 25 realistic rebuilds. We did the New York Giants with Shedeur Sanders. We might have to do the Giants again, depending on if Drew Aller declares for the draft. He could be the number 1. There's multiple options. Luckily for the Giants, when you have the top pick for a quarterback-needy team, potentially, Raiders need to go in that mix. You're probably going to get a couple different realistic rebuilds based on the different options. But that being said, second rebuild in and having the standard be set. The pace car has been set. What we need to maintain. And we're going to wrap this one up. We will go look at the final stats of what these guys were able to accomplish during this rebuild. I mean, knowledge was gained. Green Bay Packers, full-on respect for that offense. That is my favorite offense that I have found in Madden 25. And I found that for a game that came out in the summer in January. So that's something. And a low-scoring game, MVP. I think, honestly, in this situation, you're probably giving it to Skattebo. 79 yards, 2 touchdowns. Look at unless someone went off on the defensive side of the ball. Sack and a half for Darius Robinson. We get the pick for Javon. Yeah, I'm giving it Skattebo, Super Bowl MVP. So the final stats, J.J. McCarthy, who only got his opportunity to start. He had nothing coming in to this, the trade. 16,000 yards, 163 touchdowns, 48 picks in 4 years. That is a hell of a 4-year pace. We got 6,800 yards, 61 touchdowns for Cam Skattebo in 5 seasons. We have Trey McBride leading the team. More than Marvin Harrison Jr., 6,800 yards, 54 touchdowns, 6,800 yards, 47 touchdowns for Mr. Marvin Harrison Jr., Mr. Franchise Tag. Michael Wilson's carved out a very nice career for himself, 5,300 yards and 58 touchdowns. So I think it was very smart for us to keep these 3 guys here tied down long-term as long as we possibly can. And I'd say maybe if I did nitpick, and this is extremely nitpicky, I think Skattebo, for how versatile he is as a receiver in the pass game, it would have been nice to maybe offensively get him a couple more targets in said pass game. Bring in Budda Baker back to come win a Super Bowl. Hopefully he retires in this situation. 1,200 tackles, 60 TFLs, 11.5 sacks, 13 interceptions. Awesome player. Great happy ending, if you will. Anthony Hill Jr. He played 4 seasons. 4 seasons, 200 tackles, 42 TFL, 69 sacks. Bruce Smith's worried about what Anthony Hill could potentially do. We got 62 sacks from Baron Brown, did most of that with us. 39.5 from Darius Robinson, 30 from Tid Ingram Dawkins, who was like a late round pick for us. Ojulari, 16, which we got in like half a season last time we did our Cardinals franchise on the channel. Interception numbers, definitely, again, disappointing if I get nitpick. Everything else was on fire. Everything else was incredible. Interceptions were modest, to say the least. I think overall, when you look at this defense, as Anthony Hill rightfully, finally gets his superstar X Factor, as we also get to see Javon Holland get his X Factor. You look at the offense that made it all happen. Marvin Harrison lost his X Factor. That's a little bit of a wet fart, but J.J. McCarthy, McBride built this. This is all a homegrown offense, and the man, the myth, the legend, the reason why we are here today, Cam Skattebo, well, you need to take a little bit of the morale boost, but technically is a 99 X Factor. And what a freaking player. 99 stiff arm, 96 trucking, 99 break tackle. Ooh, beast. Absolute beast. I'm going to be so excited to see where he ends up getting. He's easily going to be one of my favorite players. Very much on the fence about getting a Arizona State Skattebo jersey right now. But anyways, fellas, that will do it for here today. Thank you guys very much for watching our newest episode of our Madden 25 Realistic Rebuilds. I'm leaning towards maybe the Patriots for our next one, but please let me know in the comment section below which rebuild you guys want to see next. And if you really want to see something for college football, we're not in the genre right now, but I'm also recording a lot of college football rebuilds. Let me know in the comment section below for that as well. If it is your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, as we're now working our way up to the new channel goal of 200,000 subscribers here on the channel. Hit that like button, comment for the YouTube robots, helps with my videos and gets a lot more exposure to the channel. And that's all I ask for in return. If you did enjoy what you see here today, yada yada yada, A B C D D yada yada. Okay, we said every single thing, cheesy YouTuber thing. That'll do for me today, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, it's your boy C4 saying peace out, love ya. Have a good one.